All right, welcome to Friday Live with Wendy Parr, vocal and artist development coach. I'm getting everything live over here. Instagram just takes a second to make happen. Today we are talking about how to utilize your influences, your source material, the things that you love as an artist, as a creative, the artists you love, and how to use them to build your own brand. How do I take my influences and make something for myself that's really my brand, right? To get that clarity. So that's what we'll be talking about. Come on in, artists, creators, singers, producers. We are talking about how to take your influences and build your brand. That's what today is all about. So please ask me questions. I love this being interactive. I love talking to you. So please welcome Caro, Amadi, and Prince. Welcome to the chat. Please ask me questions. I love questions. I'm going to open up this chat here. So we've talked about, well, as a vocal coach, let's start there. As a vocal coach, the first thing I do is help open up the voice, right? We're going to literally free your voice so that you can communicate, so your personality is coming through. We don't want to decorate just your voice. Like, cool if you know how to do fry or rasp or be breathy. It's like nice decoration on a cake. But the cake itself needs flavor. The cake needs like such a unique flavor, and that comes from who you are. Who cares about a really gorgeous cake that tastes bad, right? This is where I say to people, if you have 3 raspy notes to your name, but you can move your audience, you're going to do the job. That's what the audience wants. They want to feel you. Now, when we can do both, we have high level skills of expression, communication, and brand content, like your personality coming through, plus the skills. Now we're in the magic territory. We're in the high level territory. You've got all the things to get to the highest level. You know, Chapel Roan. Hello, Madrid. Yes, please ask me questions. Chapel Roan is a queer female drag queen. 4 words. A queer female drag queen. You know what happens with that? People say, whoa, I'm so curious. I want to check them out. Wow, I'm so curious. This is what happened. I know that a friend of mine books artists for a television show and performance and interview. And that's what they told the team. She's a female queer drag queen. They're like, oh, wow, bring her in. Let's put her on the show. And you need that for yourself. You need that tagline, that descriptor of you that is short and curious. It makes us go, ooh, what's that person about? I have to hear their music. I need to hear them. I want to hear that. I have to check them out, right? Well, the challenging thing is that you as a person, all of us, we really learn about ourselves through reflection of others, through relationship. We grow through relationship. I actually can't see myself except that I'm looking, I see the camera. Like, I can't see myself. And a lot of times we can't see everything about us. Hi, Holland, welcome. And we can't always see, well, let's put it this way. We all have a lot of stories in our head of who we think we are and even like what matters to us. But sometimes those stories are just stories and they're not truth. Sometimes they're beliefs we have, and sometimes the things that we feel embarrassed about or even shame about, or the stuff that you just put away and you're like, I don't even consider that. That's where your story is. That's who you are. So when a marketing person at a record label says to me, you know, I've got an artist who doesn't know their story. They really don't know who they are. They wrote a song and the artist will be like, I've got my songs, but they don't know what their story is. They don't know they're a female queer drag queen. And the reason also Chapel Roan has blown up and is like so solid is because it was a 10-year overnight success. They've been doing this for 10 years. They've been developing their artistry and who they are. So when their time and opportunity came, she's ready at a high level. She's put in the hours and the time. Allah Akbar. Hi, Dean. Hey, Braden, welcome. Ask me questions. I love this to be interactive. Annie, Melanie, ask me questions. I'm so excited you're here. So today is really, we're going to talk about looking at your influences and how do we go from being influence to utilizing that information of I love these artists, they're my heroes, to building your own brand. Okay, so to to find out about yourself and your story, that's the first thing, is like, what's my story? I'll give you an example, and I'm going to be sharing a lot more this year with you. um, I'm a coach, and what you all love for me to do is coach. So I tend to give a lot of like my coaching information. It's very much my archetype. It's who I am. And my story in my head is that my stories are, it's kind of egotistical if I share my stories. It's about me if I share my stories. But what I've been told more than once is, no, the stories are inspiring. When you share with us your personal experiences, it inspires us, and we know that we can overcome those challenges too. So I'm going to be sharing a lot more of my stories with you this year, because I recognize the value. And but again, the story in my head is, oh, that's about me. It's egotistical, and I'm here to serve you all and empower you. So instead, I'm going to tell you about what led me to fly to India alone and land at 3:30 in the morning to make an album, and how that led to working with A.R. Rahman and to meeting my hero, Shabana Azmi. I'm going to tell you about taking the risk to go to New Jersey um, by myself to a theater to meet A.R. Rahman with just a ticket to the concert to start, but saying, I'm going to get backstage and I'm going to meet him. And then how that led to working with AR, to being asked to work. I mean, there's so much story I can't even tell you. And I'm going to share it with you. You're going to be hearing all these stories. How I got on stage with Patti LaBelle. Um, Not once, several times. But from the first time, how I got on stage, and then how I continued to. That's when I was 20 years old. And I sang with Patti several times. Universal Amphitheater, San Diego Theater, Anaheim Theater. And I'm going to be sharing more and more of those stories with you, because taking risks and my life and personal experiences, plus the experiences I've had working with artists, is how I empower you. Like, what got me here as a coach is my life experiences as an artist. And then my experiences working 30 years with artists. Do you know how many patterns I have seen, and why I have online courses to coach you? Because I have these courses to coach you, because I see what people need. I'm like, wow, we need this. We need this. Artists need this. What is the first session I do with every artist? It is a conversation about why you sing and what's getting in the way, because perfectionism is stopping everybody. And so that conversation happens before we train, because it changes the trajectory of training. Um, Lakers coach Phil Jackson, Chicago Bulls coach, the winningest coach in basketball NBA history. He's got a great book called Sacred Contracts. It's in my book list, which is on my shop on my website. I have a whole collection of books in there that I think are inspiring and helpful and empowering for creatives and artists. And his book, he talks about how when he worked with the Lakers, and this was after winning with the Chicago Bulls, Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, how when he worked with the Lakers, their practices, which is the same as a rehearsal for a music artist, right? Their practice sometimes never involved touching a basketball. Sometimes your practice does not need to be about singing. What did he need to teach these guys who know how to dribble, know how to play, know how to win a game? He needed to work on their mental game, their emotional game, meditation, becoming better teammates, becoming better, having better mental mindsets for themselves and each other. And that's what we need. That's the first session I have with every artist, because when we start to change your mindset, the growth becomes exponential. You know, Queen Herbie, who just finished my Compass program, who's putting out an album called The Alchemist, and whose tour is called The Alchemist Tour, straight out of Compass, Alchemist, straight out of the program. Someone said something about sad times. Whoops, one second. Listener sounds a little sad. Oh, you can't listen to certain songs now because it takes you back to those sad times. Yeah, so if you want to connect to that emotion and you need to release it, that's a good one. Also, though, if you go back and listen to those songs when you're in a joyful mood, and you could shift your relationship to them if you reconnect to them differently. Um, so, Alchemist. Queen Herbie's Alchemist is straight out of Compass. And as she said from her experience in Compass, it empowered her to trust her choices. She's like, it wasn't showing me that I was making all the wrong choices. It showed me places where I wasn't seeing certain things, and it helped shift her musically where she wanted. And it helped her really believe in the choices she was making because she understood why she was making them, the inspiration behind them, and that clarity and confidence just got her to speed forward into the next record and the tour that she's coming out with starting on Halloween, which is super exciting. So let's talk about, how do you use your artistic influences to build your brand, to take why are they your influences? What do you love about them? And how do we build on them? Okay, well, let's talk about it. Ask me questions, please. Branding, artist identity, vision, artist visuals, artist vision. Please ask me questions. I'm glad that you're all here. Hi, Yvonne. Haley. Haley, one of my favorite singers. Haley Warner, go check her out. First time I saw her, I was an instant fan. Please go check them out. So let's look at this. I'm going to ask you to think about right now and write down your top favorite 5 artists, especially the first top 5 artists you love. Not just who you like right now. Who are your initial top 5 favorite artists? Write them down. Musically, for me, Stevie Wonder, Aretha Franklin, Barbra Streisand, John Denver, Elton John, and then I had musical theater. And as a songwriter, I can't say as an artist because my artist journey actually wasn't even fully complete because I stopped in my process, but I'm still a songwriter and I'm still an artist. But if I look at musically what I'm about, Stevie Wonder, Aretha Franklin, Barbra Streisand, Elton John, John Denver. My music that I write. State champs in Paris are definitely in top 5. Oh, that's awesome. I love working with both artists. And Paris, Lindsay is one of the rare artists who really has a full sense of their aesthetic. Like from music to visual, it's really 30 years of coaching. I will tell you that about 5% of artists have the big picture idea of who they are. Most don't. Most are, and it's okay. Just most are music artists making music with clarity there and ideas around the rest, but really not a strong sense of how do I express who I am outside of music. And that's why you need support. You need a team around you. You need some help to find that clarity so that everything becomes congruent. Prince and Kate Bush. Oh yes, Prince is up there for me. People are definitely into inner worlds. Without it, you don't have the outer world. Again, a very beautifully decorated cake with no flavor doesn't last. It's the flavor we need, and the decoration can get stronger and stronger. I mean, I think Chapel Roan, queer, female, drag queen. Her inner world is completely in the outer world. Her burlesque, her Wonder Woman self, it's all there. So let's go back to influences. Stevie Wonder, Aretha Franklin, Barbra Streisand, Elton John. Prince for me came later. These were earliest ones. And actually, the Bee Gees, they were early for me too. My music has gospel elements, strong storytelling. For musical theater, I learned how to write a story in a bridge. I love timeless music. Fleetwood Mac's Rumors favorite album. Paul Simon Graceland favorite album. Peter Gabriel So favorite album. Kate Bush. And that shows in the music I've made that is influenced by music from around the world. I have an early album that was West African influenced. The last album I was making was Indian, Carnatic, and Hindustani and Qawwali influenced, Western, but with these influences. So if I look at the music I write, it's in the pop world, it's in the Americana world, it's in the R&B world, and I can look at my early influences and say, yes, I see that there. The timeless storytelling, the melodies, the syncopation, the R&B gospel aspects being in there from influences that I love. So if I look at the music I write, I can see those influences. Now, let's look at some others. We got a Tori Amos, Billie Holiday. Oh, yes. U2 and Bob Dylan. So isn't that interesting? Tori Amos, U2, Bob Dylan. How do we layer these, right? So I want to look at other influences that we have. I'm going to show you some visual stuff here. Let's see how I can share that actually. There must be a way. I haven't done this yet, so let's see how I can do this on my restream. Share my screen. There we go. So if you look at those top 5 artists, what I'd want you to do after this, Tonio, hi, I'm so glad to see you here. What I want you to do after this initial, like, oh, I'm hearing my immediate influences, right? I'm getting them off the top of my head. What I'd want you to spend the week doing is go looking at their visuals and their live concerts and go listen to those albums. And as a conscious artist now, look at them and say, where's the commonality? What are the actual things I love about them? And am I being those things? You know, maybe you'll hear in one of them that you're like, they were super experimental for their time. Are you being experimental, or are you writing songs that you think are just like hits today? Go be experimental if what you loved about them was that they were experimental. What do you love about this person? Oh, they're super raw. Are you raw, or are you polishing it so much that it's definitely not raw? You want to really get specific about what you love in those artists, because it's pieces of yourself that you love. And you are just like those people. There's nothing, except for maybe David Bowie. Everyone's just human. and so they don't have something you don't have. But getting past our fears and getting clear to trust ourselves is essential. Yes, the BG harmonies are so great. Okay, so I'm going to show you this screen. Okay, I'm done this, so let's try. I'm going to show you a few of my early favorite childhood heroes and show you how they are in my world today and have always been in my world. There we go. So one of my early childhood heroes was Superman, the original Superman. Let's look at these images. Go back. So if we look at Superman, here's the costuming. The thing about Superman is that he's literally a superhero, right? He's Clark Kent during the day, superhero quietly, or anonymously, right? He's like it's the alter ego guy. He's very quiet, subdued, and then I would say as an artist, I would say I was a bit like that. I was kind of, quiet, hiding, and then like show up to perform big. And I think that can be true of people as artists. I don't think walking around your daily life, you have to walk around like you do on stage. I actually think that 3 versions of you are really important. The stage you, the super high-end rock and roll glam person, the medium one that shows up to interviews and da-da-da, and then the casual behind-the-scenes person. You're allowed to be, and I actually think you should be all 3. Looking like a diva behind the scenes, I'm like, especially if you're a up-and-coming artist, you're not a diva yet. Even if you are in terms of personality, you're not. So let us see like those different layers of you. And I think that the world we live in today asks for that authenticity. Full makeup at, Saturday morning for your, socials. Please don't. Give us another version of you. Give us the Clark Kent and the Superman. And then I'm going to go to this other one here. Danny Zuko, Grease. Love Grease. Used to sing the entire show in my living room by myself, playing all characters. And of course, my favorite, playing Danny Zuko. And Danny had a really transformational role, right? He starts as one person, falls in love, kind of hides that. I'm going to step out and be myself to be this person. I'm going to step into my authenticity. Superman really wants to make the world a better place. Definitely part of my theme. As a human being, my goal to make this world a better place through authenticity, vulnerability, empowering people to be true to themselves, living your dreams, make this world a better place. Hi, Alex and David. Thanks for joining. And then thirdly, Peter Pan. And Peter Pan, my favorite childhood movie. Peter Pan, child of wonder. This is me. I'm awed by the world. Can fly. By the way, most of my heroes could fly. Greatest American hero, Superman. Everybody flies. Celestial, great, and Peter Pan, youthful, energetic, doesn't want to grow up, I do believe in growing up in the sense of being a really conscious, wiser adult, but also staying curious and being childlike in my creativity and always learning and growing. Now, I spent most of my youth and life with a little pixie haircut. Didn't change. When I was older, and now right now, I'm not quite sure. I'm either just going back to this because I'm trying to be patient and see if I'm going somewhere with this longer hair. Um, but essentially, at one point in my life, I literally just had this haircut, right? I had the Superman haircut, the Danny Zuko haircut. I had the 1930s GQ. You can see it in all on my posts. Tight on the side, big on the top. I'm just going through am I getting something different now? I don't know. It's in a very in between stage, and I'm so tempted to just cut it off like this again. But my point being that my heroes, unconsciously, when I jumped off a 30-foot cliff into a pool of water, I popped up and said, I'm cutting my hair and I'm getting that 1930s GQ haircut that I've always loved. That's a man's haircut, putting in quotes. And I want a streak of red. And I did it. And after I did it, I realized I have the Danny Zuko, the Fonz, I had all my childhood heroes haircut. So if you're conscious of it now as an artist, you can actually do this on purpose. Look at your heroes and look at your childhood heroes. Look at your artistic ones, your influences, and say, what do I love about them? How can I pull the fashion, the look? How do I take these things I admire and step into them within myself? When you say Superman, actually, this happened for an artist recently when we were looking at childhood heroes, and he said, Superman's one of mine. And he said, I forgot that he really wanted to change the world and make the world a better place. I forgot about that part. Wendy, thank you for reminding me, because I realize I need more of that purpose in my actions of what I'm doing. And so when you look at your heroes and say, what do I love about them? What do they stand for? And where can I lean into those things more for myself? Where can I look at their visuals and pull things that I love? Maybe I don't want a big S, or maybe you do. Maybe that influences your logo. Maybe that influences and it's not far. If I look at that Superman S and my Parr Method logo, I'll show them side by side. It wasn't my influence for my logo, but I can see commonalities. Let's find a big one. Let's find this here. Yeah. So if I share this with you, we know that Superman S it's a triangle, but it has lines and lines within it, right? So here's my logo with the lines. It's a circle. It's a circle because I love wax seals. Always have. Every logo I've had since the beginning of time for me is a version of a wax seal. And if we look at that Superman imagery again, is that what you're seeing? Oh, I have to switch it, I think. It doesn't have lines, but it's got that frame, right? It's that circuit frame. So I did not my logo wasn't inspired by that, but I can still see the influence of my original, like something I was attracted to a long time ago, that it's still, there's some consistency there. But we can utilize with awareness the things we love and not copy them, but learn from them. And sometimes it's learning the language that helps you do that. Like my tattoo has negative space. It's not all colored in. And before this was finished, it had even more negative space. And when she did this, I was like, oh, I kind of lost all that space I like. But then she's like, it pops. And I got used to it because it's just a change. But knowing that I like negative space, that is apparent in my logo. There's negative space in my logo because I knew to say that language. I also showed images that showed that I like negative space. And there's my W, like Wonder Woman and Superman. Superman had the S, I wear the W. And I know, like, I am my own hero. I'm a hero and champion to others. I'm aware of it. I'm going to sit with it and utilize it. Why is that still sharing? I took off the share. Oh, okay. What else? Ask me questions. Ask me about your heroes. How do you pull from them? I'm going to, if you were to make a dating profile for yourself and your friends were to write a dating profile, how would they describe you? How would they introduce you to somebody? Oh, hey, I want you to meet my friend. They are so-and-so. Yes, this live will live on my YouTube, and we will share lots and lots of clips of it over time on socials. Thank you for asking, Jihan. So Mark Basie right here, folk, hero, funk, straight out of Compass, straight out of the 6-month artist development program that I lead and that is starting for the last cycle in October. The last cycle in 2024 is starting in top of November and applications are open. Mark Basie, folk, hero, funk, straight out of just a couple pieces. This is Hero. That's from his childhood influences. And I can share this because he's made it public. He tattooed it across his chest. And folk and funk were the blending of his two favorite musical influences, Stevie Wonder, Van Morrison, the folk and the funk. And we really worked on, and that's part of what Compass does as well, and my sound chart online program, blending your musical influences to create a recipe of your own unique sound. How do I take all this music I love and the influences I've had to develop something that's uniquely mine? And that's what Sound Chart does. That's what we do in Compass. Everything is about discovering who you are, what the specialness of you are, the weirdness of you is, and making it your story. And it's your story visually, sonically, message, all of it. So you show up in the world being true and honest, true and authentic, confident, and not having to like guess and figure it out, or like, oh, what's cool, or what are other people doing, or what is this person on my team telling me I should do. It really, all the source material needs to come from you, internally you. And once you have this source material, the ideas keep, oh, here's an idea for a video, here's an idea for a video, and this is how it could be used in social media. I'll give you another example. One of the artists who's currently in Compass was saying, I'm so frustrated. Like, I can't believe I don't know myself that well. And the truth is you do, like, you know yourself. I'm just helping you see, identify, clarify, and then weave it together. Because sometimes you just don't know what you know. You don't realize that the thing that you go, oh yeah, that's just me. That's who I am. You don't realize that that's the special magic and that's the story. No, that's it. That's where your tagline is, So one artist who's currently in Compass said, I don't really know myself, and then did some of the work rooted in childhood heroes and early influences, and came back with a whole fantastic understanding of themselves. I'm not going to share it because it's their thing. They're going to be putting it all out in the next year. But I'll share with you the experience, which was, yes, Sound Chart. Sound Chart is an evergreen course where you can take just that course online to really help you grab that recipe and distill your sound. Then you take it to the studio and explore, how do I bring this to life? How do I create my sound now that I know all of the ingredients? So that's an online course. It's a part of what we do in Compass with the group, with your mentors, with the team. It's just one of the things we do in the program. So this artist said, I really don't know myself. And then went into their childhood heroes and their influences. And about a week or two later came back and said, Wendy, and wrote all this. This is who I am. This is my message. This is the journey I take my artists on. This is how I want them to feel. This is what my music does for people. It all came out. Gorgeous. Once they said this, I then worked with them and showed them how they could take this concept and weave it through their live show so that they're consciously taking the audience on this journey with them, and it becomes a theme and a story throughout the whole live performance. We then looked at that material and saw how it can be turned into visuals, like all the descriptors. We then started going visually, and you can see, well, that's a music video you could shoot like that. That's an album cover. Like, here's all these ways to create these ideas from the show and then into visuals, music video content, short form content, all with the same theme. And then we looked at their persona and how they dress. And they're like, I don't really understand how to translate that. And I said, well, that makes me think of XYZ. And I put those 3 words online and into Pinterest, and out came all these clothing and style choices. And the artist looked at me and said, I would buy all of that. Like, that's me. It's all of that. I love that. I love that. I love that. And then we looked at this. This is all done in Compass. Yes. Everything I'm talking about is the process of self-discovery plus my guidance, mentorship, and industry mentors to guide you through and help you build a world that is uniquely you. So, so once we looked at the visual, then we saw, okay, well, there we go. That's you on stage. That's you on your day to day. And then here's a casual version. Let's look at how to build these 3 versions of you, because again, you don't walk around in stage clothes all the time. But it was so clear. And it wasn't far from how they already are, but it was also far because they don't dress like that all the time, or they don't give that let's call it a persona, or let's call it a look. They don't give that look all the time. And therefore it's not consistent, and that message isn't coming across. Again, you're not going to see Chappell Roan in a burlesque body fitted suit be in an interview. That's the stage, but you are going to get the same message across the board everywhere. And you are going to see the queer drag queen in an interview when she's casual in a big oversized t-shirt. That's awesome. That's awesome. So we're looking at, how do I take my influences and turn them into inspiration to recognize myself? You know, when I was young, there was a TV actor that I watched, and she was probably 10 or 15 years older than me. Let me think. I know her. I know her now. She's about 10 years older than I am. And I watched the show, and I was so inspired by them. And so I was very conscious of seeing they felt more sophisticated, or in some ways felt more like adult than I felt most of the time. And so I started shifting the way I dressed intentionally. Like, I'm going to mature myself. And I started dressing just a little sharper and a little more elegant and I'm very artsy, and I'm very bohemian chic. And I'm also a little like hip hop, urban street, casual. I would say I'm all of those things. And of course, I've also changed over time, right? I'm a mom of twins right now, so mostly I feel sloppy. So that being said, I was very conscious of seeing this person that I admired and utilizing them as an inspiration to bring out a more mature, sophisticated side of myself. I wanted to feel the groundedness that I felt in them. I wanted it to show on the outside. And so I was conscious of doing that, and so when I would go shopping, I'm like, I'm going to pick this over this. I've got a lot of that already. I got the fun that I'm going to pick something just a little classic, more classic, and that was a conscious choice. And I was aware that I'm doing it. So the awareness and the consciousness of understanding ourselves through why do I like that? What is it that I like about that? That's what we're going to get. If you know me that I drink tea. I have a couple favorite tea suppliers: High Gardens in Nashville, Wild Terra in Los Angeles. And I also mix my own recipe here, right? I mix my own recipe. And I do that in everything I do. I have an antique Indian daybed, and it has French fabrics on it, and it's mixed patterns because I'm a mixed pattern kind of person. And my friend, my Indian daybed looks a lot like this: similar blues, similar reds. My friend who gave me these as a gift, I have slippers just like this, and they gave me a French version. They know me very well that they picked this pattern, and you can't see it; it's over there. But I can turn the one of the screens. If you know me, or you've been to my house, you'll be like, "Yep, that's Wendy." I am. I love ethnic patterns, flavors, colors. The spices in my kitchen: Middle Eastern, Turkish and Indian spices. The music I listen to, Middle Eastern, Turkish, Arabic, Indian, in addition to hip hop and pop, right? The tea flavors, Japanese, what's that? Is it? It's not Osho. Japanese. Oh gosh, I'm not gonna remember the name. It's a tree bark and pau d'arco from Brazil. Like, if when I say, oh, Wendy likes the ethnic, this is a Moroccan Berber tattoo. This is from when I lived in India. This is a traditional Indian tattoo. If you know Wendy and you go, oh, Wendy's ethnic, it's not like I'm ethnic. I love the ethnic across the board. It's going to show in my food, in my clothing, in my music. Um, right. And so you become clear instead of like shying away from yourself, instead of going, oh, yeah, no, I'm not that. Oh, I am that. So how can I, how can I allow that to permeate everything that I do? And we're going to look at our childhood heroes and say, well, what is it about them that I love? And how can I let those qualities permeate everything I do? You want to, I'm going to put the compass, you're asking about compass. I'm going to put it in the link here. I can put it here too, can't I? Or can I comment here? Not sure how to comment here. On my website, wendyparr.com, is compass. Okay, fantastic. So, okay, so we are consciously utilizing our influences, and that's going to be musical and artistic and childhood, and say, what do I love about them? Go do research. Go look at the visuals. Like, I just showed one little quick Google of Superman, but if I went further into it, what else do I love about? What does Superman make you think of? What else do you love about it? I think there's a pair of glasses in there, and there's a trench coat, and what I remember is that crystal. Where he came from was crystal, right? So would I see that and say, "Ooh, I want to do." I want that to be part of my design, or I want to do a music video that feels like this. That could be an inspiration. And no one needs to know your inspiration is Superman. And in fact, we shouldn't know it because it shouldn't be a copy. We feel it archetypally, as in we're going to get the fact that you feel like a hero, right? I'm going to show you another artist that I really like and who has given us this well. Influences showing on the in the brand, right? I'll show it to you 1 second. Typing. Okay. There we go. Okay. So again, really strong artist with a really strong brand, Lil Nas X. Whether it's conscious, I don't know if the hit where his choice comes from, but I know what I'm seeing, and the audience doesn't have to know it consciously. We just get that it's truthful and it resonates and it's real and it's consistent. So when we see Lil Nas X show up to the Met Gala in a gold suit of armor, royalty, spiritual, right? He has a lot of religious stuff. Let's go back. You're not going to give this to me. So royalty, spiritual, suit of armor, queer. He's giving you all three in this costume change. The suit of armor is literally a knight in shining armor. That is a warrior on a quest, on a spiritual quest, and this has spiritual overtones as well, right? Like religious ones. And then when he gave us the queer football music video, you are getting another warrior outfit in pink, showing us the queer, and I think it was a crop top at one point. So we are consistently getting from him queer, warrior, spiritual, religious, spiritual journey and quest, and humor. There is humor and silliness in everything he does. It's so great. So consistently, whether the audience understands or resonates with the warrior part, Like I see that and go, I see the warrior. But I'm familiar with archetypes, and I live in the world of archetypes. I love archetypes. But if you're not, you've never even heard what an archetype is, totally cool. What you get is a consistent message, a consistent theme, something that you can resonate with and read truth in, because the consistency is there. Hi, Roger. Hi, Mauro. So we've been talking all day. We've been talking in this hour about how to utilize your early influences, especially early influences, your artistic ones and your childhood heroes, and learn from them to learn about yourself, to then build your brand and your persona and lean into the things that you actually care about. Superman is a hero. I want to make the world a better place, and I do it in a one-to-one and in a coaching in a coaching way. That if I believe that if I empower people to be authentic, vulnerable, and true, and create art that you love, I'm empowering you, and you get to affect millions of people to make this world a better place for authenticity. And you create a world and a life that you love. That's how I'm changing the world. To be a hero to myself, and then to be a hero to others. Yvonne, it means the world to me that I inspire you. It's literally the meaning of life, that I'm having a positive impact in your life. That is the meaning of life. So thank you for letting me know, and thank you for letting me be of service. Peter Pan. Peter Pan served others by helping them connect to their inner child, to stay playful, to stay curious. He kind of saved the world in Peter Pan, right? So that's also a consistency of that, of like helping others stay connected and true. Wondering about opposing archetypes. Oh, seems like there's magic there. Serious silliness, but there's a process of finding midpoints, mixing, combining. Yes, Janie, thank you for a great question. I don't think archetypes are opposing. We are many curious layers, and there's dichotomy. Two truths can be truth. Both things can be true at the same time. Multiple truths can be true at the same time. So in terms of archetypes, we have 12. All human beings have 4 that we share. We each have a child archetype, and there are different ones. So you need to explore what child you are, what kind of child. There's a victim archetype. We can all be the victim. There's a saboteur archetype. It's just how we get in our own way. And we can all be a prostitute. The prostitute archetype is how we cross our boundaries, bend our integrity. And the prostitute archetype is there to help you see where your boundaries need to be so that you can live with integrity. Yeah. Oh, interesting that in Russia, diva has a different meaning. It's not negative. I don't think diva necessarily has to be negative at all. I was just pointing out that for me, when I see on social media someone who hasn't really earned the status of diva, just being like showing up like a diva all the time, it doesn't really match to me. They're the mindset of a young but mature and elegant woman. That's wonderful. I love that. I think every woman should be a diva in that case, and have elegance, and still be young and mature. Like I love young and mature. See that? There's a dichotomy. So let's go back to the archetype again. So we all have the 4 that we all share and have in common, and then each of us needs to find our unique 8. There are another 8 that are all the aspects of who you are, right? So I have Artemis there, I have the sage, I have the artist archetype, and a number of others. And what we do is we just layer them. Now, I do believe that as an artist, your outward persona is going to highlight 3 of them. You're not giving 12 to everybody all the time. It's too much. It's too much story all at once. We can't. But you're going to highlight 3 main elements, main archetypes of yourself. Those are the 3 that make your persona. You're going to have some that are really for your inner circle and private life. And then the rest all exist. You're just not marketing them all at once. And maybe there's a music video that you're like, ooh, the Joker in me should come out here a little bit. This song is really mischievous. So I think like these 2 archetypes are strong. And then let's just bring out a little bit of the Joker in this one. So your others might pop out a little bit here and there um, for certain projects or certain songs. And it's just like you're never hiding parts of yourself. So they'll always be present. But in terms of like marketing and big brand themes, three of them are going to take the lead. And then over time, maybe your next album, or you had a breakup, or you got married, or you had a kid, maybe one of those three archetypes goes more quiet, and this one comes up to the fore. And so the three now have become the original two and a new third. So that also just grows. They kind of, something takes more precedent at different times in your life. So that's how we can utilize this is how we can utilize our heroes and our influences and our musical influences to extract and understand aspects of ourselves that we love and how we want to share that with the world. So if you're a hero, that certainly lends itself to like the way you would share yourself on an album cover, or like the kind of physical presence you would want to have, the again, your outfit and persona, the content of a music video. One artist that I work with really resonates with being a hero. So when they were live on stage, we did things physically that were very like bold and arm up, and just very had a feeling of epic, heroic, powerful, right? That's the physicality that we worked on stage, because it makes sense. And Desmond Child, incredible, iconic songwriter. He's written so many hits that good Lord. Um, she Bangs, La Vida Loca, Living on a Prayer, like endless number of hits. And he talks about how he's very good at seeing the archetype in an artist. And therefore, when they're writing lyrical content, he's feeding into the archetype. And so that when that artist now sings it to the audience believes it, because the message and the archetype that is being expressed in the lyric matches the person that's singing them. And so when you start to understand yourself and you're like, oh, I'm seeing who I am, and these adjectives that I love in this artist is, I've gotten, wait, did I still have that? I had it somewhere. I'll find it later. I had a description of like, based on artists that I love, like this language of like, I'm eclectic and I'm an outlier. I'm so an outlier in every which way. It shows up over and over again. I'm an outlier. Okay. So allow my art to be outlier-ish, right? No, I shouldn't try to put myself in the middle lane, in the mainstream. Doesn't mean I won't be there. Doesn't mean I can't write songs that will live there. It's just like Wendy, it would just be like asking myself, please don't tame yourself. You are an outlier. Allow yourself to be. And of course I am. Like I did this. I did this. I dressed like I lived in it. Well, I lived in India. So, and I dressed in America. I went to uh, Carnegie Hall to see a concert in a sari. Like, I don't care. I'm showing up doing me, and me is eclectic. And in fact, this is so interesting. Go back to that word ethnic. When I was in India, and I was buying a sari to wear, I was always trying to describe to help them, like, when you walk in a shop, it's floor to ceiling fabrics, right? So to help them hone in on what I would like, I actually said, I hope this isn't insulting. I don't know if this word would be insulting, but I like ethnic and like little embroidery. And when I said ethnic, she's like, oh, I got you. And she pulled something out immediately. It was like, yes, I love this. This is my style. And so using the word ethnic was exactly help them pick the type of thing that I like. And then I was actually at an event wearing that sari, and saw someone that I know who is close friends with Shabana Azmi. Shabana is one of my heroes. She's the reason I went to India. And when she saw me, she said, "Oh, that is a sari that Shabana would wear." So this woman just literally said out loud, "You are wearing an outfit that the person who's been one of your inspirations would wear." Well, of course, we connect in that way. And actually, when I met Shabanaji, I was wearing a coat from Uzbekistan. And she looked at me, she said, I have a coat like that. I'm like, of course you do. Like, I literally picked someone that inspired me, that had qualities that not only I admire, but that I'm in alignment with, right? Um, in fact, Shabanaji doesn't know this story, and I'll share it. I'll have to make a note to share this in my storytelling of India. But I have, oh gosh, I have this incredible. Do I have it here? No, I have this incredible shawl from Rajasthan. It's like my colors. It's dark black with reds and it's embroidered. It's phenomenal. Absolutely love it. And it wraps around your whole body. It's a heavy wool. It's very similar to a Berber cape that I have, a really old antique Berber cape. Why? Because I'm the same person. If I got it in Rajasthan and I got it from the Berbers, these are both the nomadic people of each country because I am a nomadic ethnic person rooted in my soul. Isn't that funny? Um, yes, it is very powerful to have space and permission to be yourself. And if you need someone else to give you permission to be yourself, please receive it from me. I am writing you the full permission slip. You have all the room and the permission to be yourself in this world. And in fact, I'm asking you to please be yourself. No one else can be you. No one sees the world the way you do. We can't get the art that you would make if you allow yourself to make it the way you visualize it, imagine it, and really truly want it to be. Please do. So I have this shawl from India. And when I lived in India, I used to go buy old movies and watch the old movies, especially the 50s and 60s. And I was watching an old movie with Shabanaji in it that you couldn't get in the States. And it was probably, it was from the 70s. And she walks on the screen wearing my shawl in a different color scheme. They were like tan colors, but it was literally absolutely made by the same family in Rajasthan because it was the exact same embroidery. It was the same shawl from, let's see, 30 years before I met her, and 30 or 40 years, 30 or 40, 70, yeah, 35 years. 35 years later, I bought the same shawl in a different color scheme. That's how connected we are. That's how similar the passion or the taste. We are all made of the same stardust. There's only 12 archetypes. We are going to like have, that's why you vibe with people. I connect with you. We've had this taste like, and I've been fortunate enough to be aware of my influences and to choose them and then to meet many of them. But how do we use them in a way that allows me to be myself, that encourages me to lean into myself? So that's the session for today. Utilize your artistic influences. Please, oh please, DM me, send me a message, ask me questions, but I would love to hear from you in a week, 2 weeks, and 4 weeks, and tell me, how are you using your influences consciously to share yourself in this world, to lean into yourself and to create your art, your brand that is true to you. And it's true to you because you're knowing who you are now. And if you do want to know how to do more of this, and you do want to go deeper with me, check out the Compass course. It's on my website, wendyparr.com, and then wendyparr.com/compass. It's right on the homepage and in the navigation. Our 6-month artist development program for pro and emerging artists. This is not for the person that doesn't know themselves. It's that you know yourself and you're ready to level up, to hone in, to take your brand higher, to take your art higher, to dive deep and be real so that you can resonate with more people and be more successful because your truth resonates. 6-month program. It starts in just a few weeks, so you have a couple more weeks to apply, and it's the last time we're doing it in 2024. So this is the last opportunity this year. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for your wonderful questions. I'm so glad, Roderick, to share this information. Hi, Penny in Venice. DM me. If you weren't here at the beginning, this will be on my YouTube channel, so you can watch the full hour on my YouTube channel. And ask me questions, DM me, and I really want to hear from you. Tag me in a post and show me how you are leaning into yourself and utilizing your influences to build your own special brand and sound. Awesome.